to Q's NFL Takes presented by Chiefs Focus. My name is Quentin Morris. Thank you for listening. Let's jump into it. So the show is called Q's NFL Takes, and the reason I wanted to name it that is because I didn't want to just limit myself to talking about just the Kansas City Chiefs or just single players or anything like that. The point of this show is going to be talk about pretty much anything NFL. And today I wanted to talk about running quarterbacks in the league. Running quarterbacks are nothing new in the NFL. We know that there have been guys over the past few decades that have come in and blown the top off of the NFL and have shown their athleticism and skill and have really changed the game. Mike Vick comes to mind when he played for the Falcons and the Eagles. He was one of the best quarterbacks to ever do the running style. Cam Newton, the reason he won the MVP was because of his running style and his ability to bulldoze people and just create some immaculate plays. Colin Kaepernick has the single postseason record for rushing yards by a quarterback at 181 in a game. So rushing quarterbacks are nothing new. There have been plenty of guys that come in and out of the league and have shown an extreme ability to move the ball down the field with their legs. Even going back to the 90s, there were plenty of guys that have shown an ability to run with the ball, and guys like John Elway and Steve Young come to mind when I think like that. But in today's NFL, I feel like that there's just more of those guys. There are more athletic and more dynamic players in the NFL today. Just to name a few, you've got Lamar Jackson, who has been the guy for a few years now. He's one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the NFL. Kyler Murray, who is a threat to run the ball on any down, and he's fast, and you can't get a hard hit on him. He's really smart about when he slides or when he gets out of bounds. You've got some young guys like Trey Lance, who, even though we've only seen a very small amount of his playing time, we still see that he has that threat to run the ball. There are some guys like Josh Allen who you mostly think of them as a thrower of the football, but Josh Allen does have some quarterback draws and design runs to really open up the offense and to get, down in distance. Even guys like Russell Wilson, who have done it in the past, even with their, limiting his rushing this year, there's still that threat there. I wouldn't call Patrick Mahomes a rushing quarterback, but the fact is that he is still able to make big plays with his legs. He's different than some of the other guys because he doesn't have any of those design plays, and he will look to throw the ball 4, 5, 6 times before he finally decides to take off. So I wouldn't put him in the, rushing quarterback category, but, there's still that threat there. The guy that I really want to talk about and the guy that really brought me to come to the decision that this is sort of moving more into the NFL is Justin Fields. And really what happened is when the Bears went to New England to face the Patriots on Monday Night Football, at that point, the Bears' offense was statistically one of the worst in the league. It was not doing anything. Everybody on the roster, you were questioning who that was. I've never heard of this guy, and nobody really stood out and was like, that's a playmaker, right there. And then on Monday night against New England, they were coming off their bye week, and they came out and just blew the doors off of the New England Patriots with taking advantage of Justin Fields' quarterback running ability. And the Bears offense has started on quite a bit of an offensive run since then. They beat the Patriots by more than 20 points, and it was never even close. And Justin Fields and the Bears offense has been, one of the most dynamic offenses since that point. They've scored, 30 points a game since then. And while they haven't been able to get into the win column, the fact is that offense is really starting to pick up some of the slack that they were able to not have at the beginning of the year. Justin Fields has more rushing yards this year than he did all of last year. He played 12 games last year. He's only played in 10 up to this point. And also remember, they didn't start doing these, quarterback designed runs until later in the year. He has been able to break off huge chunk plays this year too. So it's not like, he's a running back and he's just running the ball and getting stuff. He's really breaking out some huge plays up to this point. He's averaging over 7 yards a carry. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns. The guy's just really a dynamic player. And I think Justin Fields is a great example of what the NFL is going to become over the next few years as more and more guys like Justin Fields come out of college and play in the NFL. So I think that the running quarterback is going to become more popular in the NFL. And I think that there's a few reasons why this is going to become more popular. I think the first thing is that you need to understand what the goal of an offense is. Now, obviously, you could sit here and say the goal of an offense is to score points and to get touchdowns. It's like, yeah, of course, okay. The goal of an offense on every play is to put at least one defender in a position to make sure that they are, whatever decision that they make, they are going to make the wrong decision. I think a great example of that is the RPO, the run-pass option. So you've got your quarterback in shotgun, your running back is off to the right of you, and the quarterback hikes the ball, and what happens is quarterback has the ball in the gut of the running back, and what are they doing? They are watching the defensive end. And if the defensive end crashes down to go after the running back, if he goes more horizontal down the line to go after the running back, the quarterback will keep the ball and will throw it to the wide receiver who's running some sort of a slant or some sort of short hitch, a high percentage short pass. If the defender doesn't bite on the run and they start going after the quarterback, then that's when you just hand the ball off. So no matter what that defender does, as long as the quarterback makes the correct decision, he is going to be right. And that defender is always going to be wrong every single time. So that's sort of the goal of an offense, a well-schemed up offense, is to make sure that you're putting a defender in a position to where every time that they step onto the field and every play, at least one defender is making the wrong decision to allow an offense to have a wide open receiver or a wide open spot for a playmaker to come in. Another example of that is like that same sort of run-pass option, but it's more of a run-run option where they do this in Baltimore quite a bit, where it's the same scenario, but instead of there being an alternate for a pass, it's just the quarterback will keep the ball and run with it. So once again, quarterback hikes the ball, he gets the ball, sticks the handoff into the belly of the running back, and he's once again watching the outside linebacker or defensive end. If the defensive end crashes down on the running back, then quarterback keeps the ball and runs after, goes by the defensive end and is able to get some yards. If the defensive end comes after the quarterback, you hand the ball off, and that defensive end is not going to be able to make a tackle. These sort of plays are really effective against your top defensive ends in the NFL, where you don't even have to block them, and no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to make a play. So the Nick Bosa's of the world, the Max Crosby's of the world, no matter what decision that they make, you don't even have to dedicate a tackle, a left or right tackle, to block them, because no matter what decision they're making, you're going to eliminate them from the play. So this only works, especially the run-run option, is only effective when your quarterback is a significant rushing threat with the ball, which is where Lamar Jackson, who is a key example of this, why that type of play is so effective, because you do have to respect the ability of Lamar Jackson rushing the football. And I think that Justin Fields is sort of the next person that's going to become that. But there are still, like I said earlier, there are a lot of guys in the league that are like that. Your Kyler Murray's, I would put Jalen Hurts in that category, where there is a significant threat to, with his ability to run the ball, and you have a dynamic offensive coordinator who is able to scheme up a lot of these plays and put defenders in a position to where they are not going to make the correct decision. You also are going to have the ability to use that to pass the ball. Things like moving the pocket. I think Kansas City does this pretty well, where you sort of move the pocket, shift the pocket over, and get your quarterback in space when Patrick Mahomes is so good in the scramble drill. Well, if you have a running quarterback, and instead of having moving the pocket because you have to, because your offensive line can't block, you move the pocket because you're shifting defenders in theory out of their zones, because your quarterback is such a significant threat rushing the ball. They have to respect it. And there are more and more guys coming into this league, and so once again, you're putting defenders in a position, this time linebackers, safeties, and corners, in a position where they either have to stay in their zone and defend against a receiver running their route, or they go after the quarterback to stop him from rushing the ball and leave a defender or leave a skilled receiver open. So let's take a hypothetical here. So you're a quarterback, you're in shotgun, you hike the ball, and you start rolling out to your right as soon as you get the ball. Your slot receiver is running a 3-yard slant or a little crossing route just to come across the middle of the field. The defense is running a zone coverage where the middle linebacker has in between the hash marks, and your safeties and your corners are dropping back to some sort of a cover 4 type defense. That linebacker knows that if you run the ball, then by rolling out, and your quarterback has the ability to rush, that he's going to get significant yards, because that corner is not going to be able to come up and make the play, because your quarterback is just so athletic and dynamic that there's a chance that when that quarterback gets there, he can, make your corner miss or, run over him. We've seen quarterbacks now, because they're just so big, they're able to bowl over some corners in this league because there's just such a size advantage. So that linebacker has to make a decision. Do I go after the quarterback who is rolling out, or do I stay in my zone and cover just my area? So in one hypothetical scenario, let's say the linebacker goes and tries to hit the quarterback. Oh, well, my little receiver slant goes right to where that linebacker was. I can flip it to him, and the receiver goes and makes a play. If he stays there, then the quarterback is able to run and is able to get maybe not as many yards as if a linebacker were to stay in that zone, but he's still able to come up and get yards, and it's still a productive play. So I think that these sort of guys are going to become more and more common in the NFL, because they really do allow offensive coordinators to scheme up more plays that put defenders in a situation to where no matter what they do, they are going to make the wrong choice. And that's just, like I said, that's the key to scheming up a great offense. If we were really going to boil down to, how to sign up a good play, how to draw up a play, that's what you want to do. You don't need to have, all of these different things that wide receiver, you're going to run, you're going to run across the middle and then bounce back outside. You don't need to have like that, complicated sort of offense to to be able to move the ball down the field. As fans, we sort of sometimes make football more complicated than what it really needs to be. And in the end, there's only a few things that, you need to know to be able to watch a football game. And it's who wins the turnover battle, who is blocking better, and, what offense is taking advantage of what the defense is giving them. And being able to put a defender in the wrong position almost every time is a great way to write an effective offense. And then I think the second point here is that we're seeing these guys play more in college schemes too. So we have college systems that are putting those sort of athletic quarterbacks in a position to make plays. Right now there are a ton of those quarterbacks that are playing at the college level. And it's sort of the same thing, except on a more exaggerated level because of the talent difference, where guys are being put in position, defenders are being put in a position where they're going to be wrong, and then there's such a significant talent difference where when a guy steps up to even try and make a play, the quarterback is going to be able to break a tackle or continue to move, the ball down the field because he's just more talented than what the defenders are at the college level. So what this means for the NFL is you have guys that are now coming into the league with a background in running that sort of a scheme, which means it's going to take less and less time for quarterbacks to be able to adapt that into an NFL offense. I also think that those sort of plays are easier to implement into a NFL offense with a young quarterback because they're just simply not as complicated. You do not have to understand everything about a defensive scheme in order to read a defense to know how to win that down, how to win that play and be an effective quarterback. Now, of course, you can't always run like RPOs and stuff, right? Chip Kelly's not in the league. Like, you can't consistently run those. But I do think that those sort of quarterbacks, those sort of plays are going to continue to become more common in the NFL, especially as guys continue to come out who have a history in running that and just have the body type and the skill set to be able to run those kinds of offenses. And I think we are going to see a elevation of Justin Fields because the Bears are going to continue to run these kinds of plays, and they're going to use his skill set to really benefit the Bears offense as a whole, like we've seen over the past month of football. And this is how guys like Trey Lance are also going to be used in football. Like we haven't seen a lot of Trey Lance because of the injury and because Jimmy Garoppolo was playing in San Francisco, but it'll be really interesting to see next year when he's the starting quarterback again, how they use Trey Lance. I would bet a lot of money on the fact that Trey Lance is going to be used in a similar way Justin Fields is, just because they have a similar skill set and their ability to run the ball, and you're able to scheme up a lot of productive plays for your young quarterback, so you're not putting as much on his plate, and you're able to help him develop more in the passing game. And the final thing here is that there is that flow to the NFL where offenses scheme something up, and then eventually defenses catch up to beat that, and the offense switches back to something else, developing something new or pulling something, back out that really will be effective against the defenses. So this isn't going to be, the NFL is going to be changed forever. All we're going to get is these running quarterbacks. But I do think that it's going to be more and more common for quarterbacks like Justin Fields to come in and start becoming more of a runner from day one. Justin Fields did not get that from day one, and I think that the Justin Fields of the world are going to become more effective quarterbacks from day one because offensive coordinators and head coaches are going to realize what skill set they have and how effective those skill sets can be. And the NFL is going to get really interesting with more quarterbacks coming in and becoming rushing quarterbacks. So that's going to be it for today. This is my first episode of Q's NFL Takes. Do all the stuff, subscribe. I want this to be sort of a conversation between me and you guys, so tweet at me. My Twitter handle is just my name, Quentin C. Morris, Quentin C. Morris, and I'll talk to you guys later.